We are now going to be looking at imports. So if you import goods and services. Now important guys, I'm going to write here, we are still looking at output tax. Remember, that's our base, because what is input tax? It is whatever was charged as output tax by the other person. Now, you will remember when we started this lecture, we looked at section 7. And section 7 is very important. It's probably the most important section in the VAT Act because it tells you when there must be VAT. Now, we saw that there are 3 situations, or A, B, and C. We discussed A at length. It says you must charge VAT if there's a supply by a vendor of goods or services and you have an enterprise. That is what we've been focusing on the majority of this time. It is the most common, it's the most important part of section 7. What we're now going to be looking at is sections 7(1)(b) and C, the other situations which you charge output VAT. Now guys, you must charge output VAT if you import goods into the Republic or if you import services. Now just think for a second. This must give you a little bit of pause if you haven't encountered this before. You must go, what? Because remember what happens usually. If there's a seller, the seller will give an invoice for sales price X VAT of 100, VAT of 15, and the total including VAT of 115. The buyer will do what then? The buyer will claim the input tax. And what input tax is claimed? Whatever the input tax is on the invoice. So the seller charges output tax and the buyer claims the input tax. That we know. Now I'm saying to you, if you import goods or services, you will pay output tax. Now if you import something, you are the buyer. Now usually we claim only input tax. Now I'm saying to you, you will also have to pay output tax on that. Now, I want you to understand, it is still possible to claim input tax as well. We'll see that in a second, but to understand, we're going to look now at output. So, if you import goods, you will refer to section 13, and I want you to understand that there are output tax and input tax implications. If you import services, which we don't see as often, but important, there will only be output tax implications. Guys, this is something that you have to study, and I will explain to you now how they work. Okay, so if you sell goods in South Africa, okay, let's take this quickly. We have a seller, which is a vendor, and a buyer, which is a non-vendor. The seller sells you something for 100 rands. The VAT is 15 on that. Total sales price is 115. What is SARS going to get? SARS is going to get output tax of 15. And SARS will pay how much input tax? Well, in this case, nothing, because the buyer is not a vendor. So if you and I buy things, so I want you to just see what happens here. So SARS makes 15 rands. Now, if you go and you buy this same thing from Zimbabwe, right, so there's Zimbabwe, here's South Africa. So I see in Zimbabwe, this thing that I've just bought, I can buy it in Zimbabwe for 100 rands because Zimbabwe does not have South African VAT. Remember, only compare worried about South African VAT. So let's say this is a chocolate. So I buy the chocolate in Zimbabwe and I bring it into South Africa. Now, at the border, this is the border, we've got what is called a customs and excise warehouse. Now, at this customs warehouse, this is where the officials of South Africa will make sure that there's no drugs and illegal things coming into the country. They will get this chocolate. They will take the chocolate into the warehouse and they will say to this person in South Africa, listen, if you bought things in South Africa, SARS would have got 15 rands output tax. But now because you are buying it from Zimbabwe, SARS doesn't get any money because there's no South African vendors in Zimbabwe because it's Zimbabwe. So, what section 7(1)(b) says about goods is it says, this person in South Africa must pay output tax that is calculated by this customs warehouse. They must pay that output tax, and only if they've paid it can they bring this into South Africa. So, SARS is saying, we are not going to let you compromise and jeopardize our economy by importing things which are not subject to VAT. If you bring things into this country, even if there's no VAT because it's from a different country, we will require you to charge VAT on it and raise your own output tax. So this is why you can and will have to pay output tax even if you are importing. Okay, so how does this work, guys? So we're going to first talk about goods now. Right, so what you need to understand is that we have two different ways of calculating it. Now remember, for each section you need to have a value rule and a timing rule. Here's the value rule. You need to determine if this is a BLSN country, Botswana, Lesotho, Swaziland and Namibia. They are trading partners of South Africa, so we have got special rules with them. If you buy things from a BLSN country, you will calculate the VAT as follows. You will take the customs duty value, so that's the value that they assigned at that warehouse, plus any import duties, and that amount times 15%. Not times 15 over 115, times 15%. Why times 15%? Because there's no VAT on it, and also because section 7(1)(a), B and C tells us you must use 15%. Right, so that is how it is calculated. If it is not a BLSN country, it is calculated as the customs duty value, can you see again, plus an extra 10% of the customs duty value, plus import duties times 15%. So you can see it's cheaper to import from Botswana, Lesotho, Swaziland and Namibia, and the government is trying to encourage us because we've got trade rules and regulations with them and agreements. Other countries, it's a little bit more expensive. So you will then charge that as output tax, and then if you are entitled to claim input tax, usually you can just claim that same amount back as input tax, which you'll see in your lecture example as well. When does this take place, guys? When do you account for this? When is the timing rule? At the time when it is entered into South Africa, the goods. That is the time. So if you receive it on the 15th of January, 15th of January. Right, so guys, here are the steps if you are importing goods. This is just to help you with answering questions. It's only when you're importing goods. It says, first identify that it was goods and not services. Then, is it from a BLSN country or somewhere else? Perform the correct output tax calculation. And then, if you are able to claim the input tax, then you can claim that same amount back. And you'll see this in lecture example number 9. The importing of services is a little bit different. Here we are not importing goods. So, let's say, here's Zimbabwe, here's South Africa, and there is a person in Zimbabwe that will render a service to us. He is going to come from Zimbabwe into South Africa. Now, there's the customs and excise warehouse. You can't take this person and put him in the warehouse and say, listen, unless this person in South Africa pays, we're not releasing that person. It doesn't work like that. So they had to have different rules. So how this one works is it works a little bit different. It says, when it comes into South Africa, you will only pay output tax, but you will only pay output tax to the extent that it is not used to make taxable supplies. Right, so what does that mean? It means, for example, If you are making exempt supplies, you will pay output tax, but if you're making taxable supplies, you will not. Now you'll see this very simple in the lecture examples, but let me explain to you quickly over here. Here I've just given you some examples. Over here and here I say, let's assume that there's a company. So here's a building, right? It has all sorts of rooms. This place does both commercial plus residential accommodation. Now what do we know about commercial accommodation? It is taxable. And what do we know about residential accommodation? It is exempt. Now, let's say you have 70% taxable supplies and you have 30% exempt supplies. So that, just in simple terms, if my turnover ex VAT is R1,000,000, or let's make it 10 million rands, it means basically that 7 million of that is commercial accommodation and 3 million of that is exempt. Okay, so I'm just using it as an example to illustrate why that 70 and 30% is coming from. If I now import a service, right, and the service cost me 100,000 rands, the VAT on that will be calculated as 100,000 times your exempt percentage times the VAT percentage. So in other words, you only pay VAT on the exempt portion. So this is what I'm trying to show you. It says here, whatever the percentage is for exempt supplies, if it's 30%, you pay 30% output VAT. If it's 60%, it's 60%. If it's 90%, it's 90%. Right, as you go through the work and your understanding improves, you'll see why this is the case. But understand for now, the reason is because of the fact that you would not be able to claim input tax on the exempt supplies in any case, so that is why they charge you that as output tax. Please work for the lecture example to see how that works. It is really simple. Get this right.